Hello, everyone. I'm going to call to order the August 20th meeting of the Rotary Club of Des Moines. I'm President Doug Saltzgaver. I'm happy to be back for, how many weeks is it? Our fourth week back in person here at Wakanda. Also, those of you watching live on our YouTube streaming, and if you can't watch it live today, you can always tune in at another time, any time of the day or night you'd like to watch this. Again, thanks to the three Invictus Media guys behind the scenes for filming our meeting again today like they've been for the last 4 meetings. I'm not wearing my mask at the podium again, so you can hear me more clearly, and I'm safely distanced from all of you. We encourage everyone to keep your mask on when not eating or drinking. And as usual, we will be sanitizing the microphone between speakers. On this day in 1911, a telegram is sent in order to determine how fast a message could be sent around the world by telegraph cable. This message reading simply, "This message sent around the world." How very original. Left the dispatch room on the 17th floor of the Times building in New York City at 7 p.m. after it traveled more than 28,000 miles, being relayed by 16 different telegraph operators through San Francisco, the Philippines, Hong Kong, Saigon, Singapore, Bombay, Malta, Lisbon, and Azores, among other locations. The reply was received by the same operator in a lightning-fast 16 and a half minutes later. Wow, what technology. Now we can pick up a cell phone and call anyone in the world at any time, and they pick up instantaneously. I now invite multiple times past President Skeet Wooten to share a moment of inspiration, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and of course, the four-way test.
Hey, Doug. Yeah, just for me. Thank you for that warm welcome. I appreciate it. And thank you, dear leader. I appreciate the multiple past introduction. In honor of our speaker today, Renee Hardman, I looked up a little bit about Big Brothers and Big Sisters. I think everyone knows generally what they do, but it was interesting to look on the website and see what they say about themselves. And since 1904, the Big Brothers and Big Sisters has operated under the belief that inherent in every child is incredible potential. As the nation's largest donor and volunteer-supported mentoring network, Big Brothers and Big Sisters makes meaningful, monitored matches between adult volunteers, which are called Bigs, and children, which are called Littles, from ages 5 through young adults. The mission is to create and support one-on-one mentoring relationships that ignite the power and the promise of youth. And because of that, I looked up several things that I thought would be appropriate for an inspiration for Renee's program. And James Agee once said, "In every child who is born, the potentiality of the human race is born again." Frederick Douglass said, "It is easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken adults." Mr. Rogers said, "We live in a world in which we need to share responsibility. It's easy to say, it's not my child, not my community, not my world, and not my problem. Then there are those who see the need and respond. I consider those people my heroes." And I think that there are 6 things that every child needs to hear from you as an adult, as a parent, as a grandparent. And those 6 things are, I love you, I'm proud of you, I'm sorry, I forgive you. I'm listening, and you've got what it takes. I will close with a quote from Aristotle, who is the teacher of Plato, who once said, "Wise men speak because they have something to say. Fools speak when they have to say something." So, thank you very much. Now, wow, applause. If you would stand and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test of the things Rotarians think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
I find it interesting that Skeet was not in attendance last week when we had two former FBI agents. It's also interesting Skeet does not go by his given name at birth. As I said, that would be called an alias, so not really sure why he skipped last meeting. But thanks, Skeet, for that moment of inspiration. And as a reminder, this is the only Rotary duty we're looking for volunteers on every week. You can sign up online to share a moment of inspiration, or you can give Kitty a call and let her know. It's just one job we need. We didn't have anybody today, but luckily I had some dirt on Skeet, so we got him to. He'll probably be doing it again, he says. So today I have the pleasure of introducing our speaker. But before then, need to remember that our policy for asking questions, there's a microphone over by the hallway. Kitty will sanitize the microphone between questions. Again, please do not shout out your answer from your seats because we want everyone to hear that's listening on our live stream or at a later time on YouTube channel. So, well, look at that. There are 3 members in this Rotary Club who are graduates of the Greater Des Moines Leadership Institute class of 97-98, and we're fortunate enough today to have Renee here with us to make 4. So, surprising, none of us have changed a bit. Wow. In 2017, Renee made history when she was elected as the first African-American woman to the West Des Moines City Council in its 125-year history. Among her many areas of focus, it will be to move the needle on affordable housing and enhanced citizen engagement. Renee is currently Chief Executive Officer of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Iowa. She has served this organization for over 25 years as Big Sister, 8 years board member, and Big Sister of the Year in 1996. That's probably how you got into our leadership group, wasn't it? Renee is also owner of Hardman Consulting, LLC, in which she specializes in facilitating workshops on implicit bias, equity, privilege, diversity, and inclusion. Prior to that, Renee Hardman served as an executive officer for Bankers Trust as their Senior Vice President of Human Resources. Renee has a lengthy list of community service and honors. A select few include trustee for Des Moines University, advisory board member for the Robert D. and Billy Ray Center, board member of the Latina Leadership Initiative, Polk County Housing Trust Fund, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority for 27 years, it says, Des Moines chapter of the Lynx, Inc., page 3, and past president of the Chrysalis Foundation and longtime volunteer and 5th Judicial District Commissioner appointed by the governor. In 2014, she was inducted into the Iowa Women's Hall of Fame and also has received a number of awards for her outstanding civic engagement, to include, but of course not limited to, Greater Des Moines Leadership Institute's Alumni Volunteer Award, DMU's Diversity Champion Award, Connie Weimer Spirit Award, President Obama Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Drum Major of Service Award, Women of Influence, and YMCA's Women of Achievement Award, and most recently, 40 Under 40. Now, I know you can't be that, but you are the Alumni of the Year. Wow. So I don't know if you need a chair. You've got to be really tired after all of that. But let's give Renee a warm welcome. All right.
Wow, thank you for that generous and that kind introduction. I truly appreciate it. And I also want to thank Skeet for the words of inspiration. I'd like to share that when I get back to the office, Skeet, with the staff. I think is so appropriate. Well, good afternoon. I see so many friends and people that I know, and I count it all a privilege to be here today, because I was sharing with folks, even sharing with Colleen, one of your members, as I was coming in, this is my first luncheon, group luncheon, since COVID hit in March. And so any day that you can get up and have this kind of view and be around such civic-minded individuals, I count it all to the good. So this will go into I'm creating this big, huge time capsule for 2020. And I'm going to put this down as my first group luncheon since we shut down. So you will be a part of that time capsule when I open it up in 10 years. Again, I'd like to say it's a delight to be here, to know so many folks in different other capacities. I've served on boards with some of you that are in the room today. And it's just great to be amongst you. I want to say that I'm here to talk about Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Iowa. Thank you, Kitty, for being the person that's going to flip through the PowerPoint slide for me, which is an organization that was founded in 1904, but our affiliate in Central Iowa was founded in 1968. So we're about 52 years of age, and we have served close to 20,000 youth in the time since we've started. And we have touched a lot of lives and defended a lot of potential. And some of these children that we've served are amongst us. They're working in some of your companies. They're in the community. They're doing great, great things. So I do want to just share, we have a board of directors and their names are here. Some of you might recognize that. We also have what we call as an honorary board. That's the governing board. I won't read all of their names, but the honorary board members are folks that are individuals that provide a bit of oversight and guidance as well, things that folks that we run ideas by. And so we're thrilled to have this caliber of individuals that are honorary board members that, again, have a passion for the work that we do. We'll continue on, and I'll share with you, as Skeet shared, is that our mission is simple. And it says it all. Our mission is to create and support one-to-one mentoring relationships that ignite the power and the promise of our youth. And our vision is even more simpler, that all youth achieve their full potential. And we exist to truly make sure that all of our youth get to their fullest potential. I want to back up just a little bit and just to tell you how I got to be here where I'm at with leading this organization, is that some 30 years ago plus years ago. I am telling my age now. But when I graduated from Drake University, I wanted to give back. I came from Chicago, Illinois. I was raised by a single mom who raised 3 girls in inner city Chicago, and all she really wanted for us was to live a life of service, of faith, and giving everything you could 110%. So anyway, my mom worked 2 jobs, all that I could remember. She was one that wanted to do it her way, and that was just through hard work. So my mom worked 2 jobs. In the morning, she'd leave at 5:30 in the morning. She'd come home at night at 10 o'clock. And we had mentors in our community that looked after us, women in our community that stopped by to check on us, make sure we were doing our homework, make sure that if we were cooking, we didn't burn down the kitchen. So we had mentors all throughout my life that was a part of helping me develop into a young woman. And so when I graduated from Drake, I came to Drake sight unseen. I told my mom that I wasn't coming back to Chicago, that I loved Des Moines. I fell in love with Des Moines, so I stayed. And plus I had a sister, a younger sister, 2 years younger than me, that was also at Drake, and she was in their pharmacy program. She graduated in 5 years and went to go work for Walgreens and left the day she graduated. But she's been with Walgreens now for close to 33 years, so she's doing well. But I stayed, and I wanted to start my civic engagement, and I called up Big Brothers Big Sisters, and I wanted to be a big sister. I wanted to be a mentor. So I got a little girl who was 6 years of age, and she was from Africa. She was from Sierra Leone. And I adored her the minute I laid eyes on her. And I became her big sister, and I mentored her for 10 years of her life. And at that time, you had to be with them 2 to 4 hours a week. It's different now. It's 2 to 3 times a month. So I, for 10 years, was with my little 2 to 4 hours every week. And I think I've only missed 1 week, 1 week. But I made sure that I upheld that commitment, and I became her big. And little did I know that Big Brothers Big Sisters gave me the daughter that I never had. I don't have children, so she is the daughter that I never had. And so how many of you can say that an organization gives you that kind of significant relationship that will take you until you die? So she went on to go to college. Our relationship ended after she graduated, and she was thinking of not going to college because her family couldn't afford it. And I was like, no, that's not going to work. One of the things my mom wanted from all of us is that we needed to go to college. She thought that that was a way to elevate who we could be and provide more opportunities and open more doors. So college was not something we could say we couldn't do. So you just had to find a way to make it work. And I worked 3 jobs when I was at Drake University, 3 jobs for almost 4 years. And so anyway, I decided to put her through college. We developed a contract. I thought that that was the best gift that I could give someone is education. So I told her she was on a 4-year plan. There was no 5-year partying plan. And she took it seriously, and she got done in 4 years. And so that was what she did. And she began to work at principal when she graduated. And now what she's doing, she lives in Florida, and she is a nurse, and she is an ICU nurse, and she is saving lives. And when you have heart surgery, you're going to be the first person that you see because she is right there receiving you after your heart surgery, and she is the nurse on site. She is in a hospital that is full of COVID patients. We talk all the time, so PPP is so important. But she now is giving back, and now she is also thinking once COVID gets behind her and life isn't so crazy that she would probably pay it forward and also become a big sister. That's a legacy, right? So that's what we do. So I wanted to share with you a little bit how I got involved in the organization. Fast forward it, now I'm their CEO. I've been on their board for 8 years. I was Big Sister of the Year. It was my favorite charity. And so to come full circle in my life and to be serving a mission that's so grand and noble and such an alignment of my life, it's really not working. It's really coming in every day and just serving and making an impact and trying to make sure youth, like myself when I was little, could have positive folks in their lives. This is a neat picture. It's really hard to see a bit, but that's our summer picnic that we had last summer. I think you'll see one of your colleagues in the picture, Colleen. But anyway, we have young people that we have a picnic. We're probably not going to be able to have it this summer because of COVID. But a grocery store, Fairways, pays for all of our meat and food to have this picnic. I want to tell with you a story that happened at my first picnic at Big Brothers Big Sisters. There was food left over. We grilled hamburgers and hot dogs, and there was food left over. And so we said we could have the kids take that. And so there was a young African kid that was going to get the leftovers. And we thought everybody just get a burger and a hot dog and pack it up. And he was packing up everything he could see that wasn't already someone else's. And went to go see the little kid and said, well, we got to probably save a little bit for others. And this little kid, and we take this for granted, said that he was going home to an empty refrigerator. His parents didn't have the food stamp. His mom's food stamps have given out. He had brothers and sisters, and he needed to make sure that they ate for the next 2 to 3 days. And my heart just sank because here it is, we're partying and having a great time with young people, and sometimes we don't even know what a picnic can do for the life of a young person. And here this 8-year-old kid was packing up enough hamburgers and hot dogs so that his little brothers and sisters could have something to eat for the next 2 to 3 days until his mom could have resources to buy groceries. So that picture is important to me because while we have everyone together, it reminds me of the power of a meal and the power of time and what we take for granted. We've had this lovely lunch today, and we don't think anything about it when we walk and get in our cars. But there are some kids out there that would die to be able to have a piece of chicken or salmon or a salad or a hamburger or a hot dog. We'll move on to some statistics. There are approximately 450 matches that we're currently working with. That means adults with youth, families with youth, or duals, and we'll talk about that in a moment. The average age of our little is about 12 years. The average age of our big is 33. And then the average match length is 4 years. I shared with you I did 10. And I have another little girl I'm doing right now. She's 6. You'll see a picture of her a little later. But national statistics says that matches stay together in our about 2.5 years. So here in our chapter, our affiliate, it's at least 4 years. So we're proud of that. We're going to try to migrate that number up. It just really depends on what age they're matched to. So if they're matched at 12 or 13, they're not going to have as much time together. But the younger they're matched, hopefully they stay together. Our goal is to make sure they stay together. Our goal is that once they're matched, we don't say hi and thank you and bye-bye. They're assigned a match specialist that calls them regularly once a month. The child, the volunteer, and the parent. And they're a part of that. My match specialist that I had when I first got my little girl is still with Big Brothers Big Sisters and celebrating 41 years. And is now currently my match specialist for my new 6-year-old little. So it's just phenomenal because Mike is he was a part of my family. He was a part of working through difficulties when she got older and she was a teenager. And how many of you have teenagers? You kind of know those are some interesting times. And so my match specialist helped me understand what I could do differently to have very positive outcomes. So those are some statistics that I wanted to share with you. We'll keep moving on. There are some other statistics about our littles that I'll share. Is that our gender, it says about 45% of our littles are males and 55% females. 85% of our youth come from single parent homes, a home that I came from that have one parent. But I wasn't a victim. I had a mom that loved me more than life itself and believed in me and defended my potential. But 85% of them are single parent homes. 81% households make under $25,000. Can you believe it? 74% of youth served are from communities of color. And these are some of the ages. 22% are 4 to 9, and 35%, which is our largest, are 10 to 12. Well, and then 13 to 14, 26. And then 18 or 19 is 4%, because when they're getting ready to graduate from high school, the relationship ends. So those are some of our statistics of our families and our littles. I'll keep moving on. Mission moment. I just want to share that a little bit here. Another mission moment is that just 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, there was a young little who came into our office. His mother had 3 boys, and she brought her boys in to get matched. 2 of them were going to get matched. So we have to do interviews with the kid and the parent. And so we separate them so that, we can really pay attention to the kids during the enrollment process. And this little kid was in our lobby playing with toys. And so I go out and just try to engage them in a little bit of a conversation. And this 7-year-old boy, I said, "Are you excited?" And he said, "Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to get a brother today." I says, "Why are you excited?" And he says, "Because I don't have a dad." And he says, "My dad doesn't love me." And I had to almost stop and pause and go back into my office and collect myself, because here is this 7-year-old kid that is so excited that he's going to get a brother because all he wants is someone to love him. That's a male figure. And I'm like, how powerful can my mission be that in this moment, I will get to see the pairing of a young boy, perfect strangers, with another adult male that he can call his own. And hopefully this person will defend his potential, and he'll realize that he does have a dad. Maybe his dad is just not available, but yet he can still have someone that takes him to the ball games and play football and throw, catch, and do all of those things. So that's why I get excited every day that I get into the office, because I get to see some of that. And then there was another one that was a story that was told when I first started. There was a young girl who, we have a school-based mentoring program where people from different workplaces go to the schools and they mentor for 30 to 45 minutes. And they have that with them for the entire school year. Well, this little girl had a mentor. And when interviewing her about what she liked about the mentorship program, she said that it provided her only friend, because everyone bullied her at school. Everyone bullied her at school, and the only person that made sense in her life was someone from Big Brothers Big Sisters. And I was so touched and moved by a person choosing to defend someone's potential, and for a moment, for those 30 to 45 minutes that they're together, she has someone that cares about her, and she can forget about being bullied. How powerful is that? A perfect stranger walking into the life of a young person and allowing that person for just a moment to feel loved and welcomed and appreciated and lifted up. Beautiful. That's why I love what I do. We'll continue on. And these are more pictures of some of our matches together. I think pictures speak volumes. You can see the wonderful smiles and what some of our matches really look like and the connections that they form. So I always like to augment some of our presentations with some of the lovely pictures of actual matches at work. Our mentoring programs consist of community-based, where that's one-on-one. That's what I did, one-on-one. Duos, where 2 people can come together. It can be a mom and a daughter, a son and a father, 2 brothers, 2 sisters, a brother and a sister, 2 friends. They can come together and decide they want to do it together. And that's attractive because they can alternate. And so we have duo matches and family matches, and they're growing because families now are saying, we're going to take on a little. I want my young person to see what it feels like to give back and make a difference, my own children. So we're going to do this as a family. So we have people that have 2 children and married, and they're doing it together, or a single parent with children, they're doing it. So we have 3 ways in which you can be a part of the community-based program. But one-on-one is our bread and butter. We have workplace. We have 5 workplace corporate sites, whereby before COVID, we bused young middle schools on early out Wednesdays to 5 companies, where they were mentored on site during the workday. And just before COVID, we got 3 new work sites, Corteva, IMT, and Guide One. And now we got to do things virtually for a little bit because we can't get kids on a big bus and take them there, but they still want to be a part of it. But these workplace sites are phenomenal. And then we have school-based, which is 18 schools we're in. And how that works is that adults go to the schools and they get assigned a little. It's your match. And for 35 to 40 minutes during the school day, you're helping them read, a book like I see there, or you're going through homework, or you're just talking to them about what's happening at home, what's going on, and that kind of a thing. And it's just during the school time. So those are our 3 big mentoring programs which work for different people, and it allows for a lot of flexibility and ways in which you can defend potential and lift a young person. Community-based is a close alignment with the big and the little's interests. We do thorough background checks. Security is our #1 priority. And we make sure we understand what the big wants to get out of it. Some bigs say, I want someone on this side of town. Some people say, I just want an African-American. Some people say, I want someone at this age group with these level of interests. So we try to make sure there is a close alignment. They meet 2 to 4 times a month. And 2 times is good to build a really good relationship. And then the match support is what makes our program stand out, is that you are assigned a person from our office, and we have 5 match support folks that have a client base. Mike has 83 people on his list, and all he's doing most of the day is matching people together and making calls to check on how things are going with that relationship, and what are the barriers, and what kind of obstacles are you facing. Workplace, we are going to be at Curteva. That's new. We're so excited. They are excited. We had a lunch and learn to see how many folks were interested, and I think they had 40 people for 25 slots. So we're happy about that. Guide One Insurance, we are creating that virtual program for them right now, at least the first semester. IMT Insurance Group wanted us to have kids come out to their place. Nick Mick has been a major proponent of our workplace program. Their CEO is one of our honorary board members, and then Dan Houston is a major supporter of the workplace mentoring program, and we go out to principal. So we're going to miss not getting those kids on the bus on early outs and busing them to the place. Now we got to find ways in which we're doing it virtually, which is fine, but I love the face-to-face better. So anyway, that's what we have there. We'll keep going. These are our school-based mentoring programs. We're in schools in Des Moines. It's growing. I think Crestview Elementary was a new school we added last year. So we talk to the superintendents and the principals, and we develop relationships and agreements. They open up their schools to allow us to do this. So right now we're at 18 schools. That has expanded over the last 2 years, and there's probably a lot more room because our kids are going to need this extra support more now than ever. Right? Because there's so much remote learning, there's so much distant learning, so they're going to need this more so than ever. But we're going to be virtual for a bit. We have annual events that support the work we do. There's Big Shots Golf. Yes, we have a golf tournament on September 10th at Echo Valley. And so we are excited that we have lots and lots of golfers. I guess that's one activity that's still going on. You can see that here. But that is something that's happening September 10th. We still have room for a couple more foursomes, but nevertheless, that is happening, and we're excited about it. We started an inaugural event called Are You Smarter Than a Little? This is where 8 or 9 CEO folks competed with our littles and a game show night. It was fantastic. Not sure we're going to be able to do that in November, but we're going to do something different. We're talking about that. But that was our November event. It was our first year doing it. It was at Franklin High School. Colleen was one of our coaches of the kids, and we had to coach them, but it was phenomenal. It was not a rubber chicken dinner. It was a experience. And not that today was a rubber chicken dinner. It was fantastic. It was wonderful. It was great. And Bowl for Kids' Sake is something that happens in March. We're nervous about that because this is our biggest event. We usually have 800 bowlers that take up. We bowl 8. We go to all the bowling lanes, and they bowl until midnight at night. We had over 800 bowlers last year, made close to $200,000. And so if we don't have that event this year, that's going to crush us. So we're going to do the best we can, and we're doing a lot of praying. But it's usually in March, and that's our biggest event that we've been doing for 28 years. And then Defenders of Potential Breakfast is in June. That's when we get all of the graduates of our program together and celebrate them graduating from high school. Because that's the first thing and the major thing we want to do is we want to get them through high school. We want them to get what my mom always called, get that piece of paper. So we celebrate that. This year, Nick Mick hosted it virtually. and bought breakfast for everyone, where we sent certificates to people to have breakfast on NCMEC, and we had a video, and we celebrated those long-term relationships. But those are our events. Our sources of funding come from United Way. United Way funds close to a third of our budget. We fit in the education pillar, where they have goals to get kids through high school. So we are part of that solution of helping them get through high school. We do grants and foundations, as most nonprofits do. And then we have the events with corporate sponsorship, and I just shared with you what those events are. And of course, individual donors is a part of our philanthropic profile as well. So that is really kind of our revenue stream. Some new initiatives. We went into the virtual environment, and we kicked off a Little Big Virtual Learning Academy, where it is getting national recognition from our affiliate. There are 260 Big Brother Big Sisters organizations across the country. And we kicked off this virtual academy. Our national office loved it, so we are now the model for other Big Brothers Big Sisters. We get calls very regularly about, can we name it the same? And I said, it's all about the kids, so I don't care about the name. Use it if it works. So there are learning opportunities where the matches and the littles come together. The first one, we had one, and it was about affirmations, self-affirmations, what you tell your spirit and believing in yourself. And one little wrote this, she colored this composition notebook she had, and it says, we got this. And I thought it was telling, because that's her mantra, is we got this. Because we're in some crazy times right now. And so her mantra every day that she tells herself when she gets up, we got this. And she colored it and sent it to us. It was wonderful. But we have kicked off the Virtual Learning Academy. We are going to throw more support in the Bigs in Blue program. I think given where our climate is right now, I think police officers can serve as wonderful role models to our young people. So we have a national program. The police chief in Clive is a mentor, and the police chief in Ankeny is in process of becoming a mentor. I got to work on West Des Moines a little bit. Maybe I'll have a little influence there as city council person. I'll leverage that if I can. But we are going to put more resources in the Bigs in Blue program and allow police officers to be mentors to our kids. A new program that I'm going to be starting is the CEO mentoring program, Cultivate Each One. That's what it stands for. Through all of this COVID stuff and these racial tensions, a lot of my allies were calling, asking what could they do with their privilege. And I am telling CEOs, what you can do is mentor a child. And so we are going to have mentors that are CEO types, mentoring kids from underserved communities. And I just think it's going to be a phenomenal thing for them to learn from these CEOs, be exposed to things. Because I am a firm believer is that you cannot dream what you cannot see. Kids cannot get where you want them to go if they don't see it. And they get to see things that a CEO can share with them. So we're going to be launching that. So it's a preview here. I'm going to be doing implicit bias training for all of our bigs. I think that we need to offer training about our bigs, about let's deal with implicit bias. So that'll be a new offering. We have a new Mentor Circle individual giving program that funds a match. It's about $1,500 a year to fund a match. So we are doing promoting that, and with some success. And we were going to do a capital campaign. We had started that process before COVID. We put that on hold a little bit. We're running out of space. We don't have room to bring young people together, not that we can today, to do a lot of what we want to do. So we want a facility that can serve us well and serve where our clients are. I can't tell you how difficult it is for our clients to be coming out to Clive to meet us. We need to be where they're at. We need to be present where they're at and closer to where they're at. So that was the purpose of that, but more on that later. We haven't given up, but just timing is just not quite right. And then the Big Virtual Academy, just want to share, littles and bigs stay connected during times of physical distancing. Activities fall under education, life coping skills, wellness development, and virtual workshops with bigs and littles while they're together. That's really what that does. So we'll keep moving on, and ways to become involved is to become a big. Refer someone to be a big if you know a person that want to do it. We'd love to get their name and talk with them. Volunteer for any of our events that we post on our website and Facebook. And everyone can always donate time, talent, and treasure. So those are ways in which we encourage folks to get involved in our mission and the work that we do. So we'll close with, this is my new little. I want to introduce you to Zariah. Zariah is 6 years of age. Zariah is from a single-parent home of a mother that has 3 children and a stepchild. And so I got Zariah, and she is awesome. And she wants you guys to know that you're awesome. And I sent her that card during social distancing. Mid-American Energy executives came over and made cards for us and colored cards. And so we have all these beautiful cards that we're sending to pour into the spirit of our little. So I sent that to her one day, and she just got up from bed and took a picture of it, and her mom texted it to me, and it's the best thing ever. I see it, and it makes me smile. So anyway, I'll conclude with that. And there was a short 30-second video. I couldn't bring a little with me. I was going to, but with COVID, we couldn't bring extra guests. So we have a little video of just about 30 seconds of a big and a little. It's okay. That's all right. And this, if we can make it work, it's one of our graduating littles who just has graduated. Maybe we can do questions while you're trying to do that, if we can. Okay. Oh, is it on live stream? Okay. Okay. Well, maybe as we're doing that, I appreciate you trying, Kitty. We all know about technology, but it's a very nice video of a young girl who is graduating or has graduated, and she had a wonderful relationship. So I'll conclude with any questions that anyone might have. Again, I want to say thank you for this opportunity to share. Thank you for the opportunity to have us share what Big Brothers Big Sisters is all about and what we do. So yes. Is that where? Okay. Okay.
First of all, thank you.
You're welcome, Jackie.
Thank you. It
You're
was
welcome.
just really great.
Thank you.
I think the question I'd ask is, there's so much going on with online schooling.
Yeah.
And my guess is a lot of the people that you work with, a lot of the littles, are those that need advocates and extra help. Maybe talk a little bit about how you coach your bigs around advocacy for their littles, because they're not the parents, right?
No.
I just, appreciate you trying to touch on that somehow.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question, Jackie. Thank you. And I appreciate you. And I want to say also, I really appreciated all the work you've done for Goodwill. I know you're in a different journey, but Goodwill is better because you served it. But I want to say that through our matches, we have that match support, and we have a big, huge orientation when you become a big on the do's and the nots, because you aren't the parent. You've got to be careful that you don't play that role. I think I crossed that line a little when I was a big, because I fell in love with her so much that I'm just like, no, I am not the parent here. I've got to make sure that those boundaries are there. So they get that a lot through the match support. A lot of times the bigs are covering situations that they encountered, and the match specialist is so well trained to say, this is how I would consider approaching this. This is how I would consider doing this. One of the big things that we have to do is make sure that bigs aren't spending tons of money on their littles, because there are some families that have 3 bigs in one family with 3 different kids, and one might try to buy extravagant things, and the other is just doing very basic things to get through and going to the parks and doesn't cost. So we try to encourage our bigs also. It's not about money that you spend, it's about time and how you spend that time. So most of the kind of support that they get and the learnings that they get is through the match support, dealing with some very difficult situations, because parents are called too, and they'll say things too, and that allows us to say, okay, let's extrapolate what the parent is saying, and let's have a debrief on the little and the big to make sure that everything is aligned. So it's not easy all the time. I may make it seem like it is, but these relationships go through lots of ups and downs. So we have a thorough orientation. We are going to be starting a newsletter where we're going to give factoids on Q&As, things that we learned. We just launched a new private Facebook page where bigs can talk to each other. And so it's that support system where bigs can go on and talk about different things. And there are other bigs that have been bigs for a long time are queuing in to help out. So we just launched that just this year, where it's just a separate Facebook account that's just for bigs to talk about what's happening, good and challenging.
Wonderful presentation, Renee. I have
Thank
two
you.
questions. One is, don't you have a presence at Drake?
That is, okay, I'm glad you brought that up because we do get confused with the Boys and Girls Club. Okay, and that's okay. So they are a wonderful youth serving organization. Their model is different. Ours is one-on-one mentoring. Theirs is a lot of youth activities, and some of ours is activities as well. But we do get confused with the wonderful organization that's affiliated with Drake, and that's the Boys and Girls Club. I'll tell you a funny story. When I became the CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters, my own mayor of my city sent me a beautiful thank you note congratulating me being the CEO of Boys and Girls Club. And so we do get confused because our names are so similar. We're serving youth, but our models can't be more different.
Well,
Yeah.
my question is, where do you get the littles? What's the referral source?
Okay.
How are they identified?
Every way possible. We get them through church referrals. We get them through schools, word of mouth. I was just walking the other day at a park, and there was a mother that had 3 kids. And I says, oh, how you doing? You know me, I don't meet a stranger, so I'm talking. And lo and behold, I give her my card, and she's calling, and these 3 kids are getting ready they're on the list. We actually have a waiting list of over close to 100 kids because sometimes people want certain kids at certain age. We have more Black boys on the waiting list than ever. And so we are desperately trying to find more mentors, more people of color that can step up to the plate and be mentors. So we really have a waiting list right now. We have close to 500 matches that are active, but there are close to 85 to 90 kids waiting to be matched. And we get volunteers all the time. We had volunteer orientation 2 weeks ago, and there was 14 people there. But it takes a while to work up the system, do the home visit, the background checks, and all of that. And then we try to match them as quickly as we can. The issue that happens when we get young girls on the list, they're swooped up like no tomorrow because everybody is looking for that little 8-year-old girl. Look at me, I got this 6-year-old girl. And so some of our older kids they're on the waiting list a little bit longer, so I feel bad about that. But we're working with them. Yeah, but churches, schools refer kids too.
Thank you, Renee.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
apologize for the video not working. It worked fine earlier, but we will
Okay.
include that in our newsletter
Great.
with the replay. So it will be available to everyone in the club to still see it because I've seen the video and it is fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, thank you. I am going to do the honors of wiping my own saliva. And I wish you all the best and be safe and be well. And thank you for this privilege.
One bit of advice, could you be a little more passionate about your organization? Wow, that was fantastic. And I have to read off a paper, and she does it from memory. I'm always impressed with people like that. Thank you, Renee, for sharing your passion with your organization and spending time with us today, live and virtually. And in your honor, we're going to donate the book Brave Ballerina, the story of Janet Collins, to the Down School Library. And I think you have or will write some comments and notes of inspiration. I want to thank everyone for being here with us today. One quick note, we do want you to RSVP for our meetings. A few of you snuck in here, and I had to call off Kevin with his taser since he's the Sergeant at Arms, so I backed him down today, but I can't guarantee next week. So speaking of next week, we have Steve Dakin from Boone, our District 6000 governor and part-time comedian. I think most of you are getting his Monday morning jokes. September 3rd, we are having Jeff Brunig, owner of Full Court Press Restaurants. Some of those include El Bait Shop, Fong's Pizza, Hessenhaus, and a number of others. And he will talk about managing through the COVID-19 as a restaurant owner. I'm sure that's been exciting. On September 10th, John Sorensen, president of the Iowa Bankers Association. And we want to thank you again for being here with us today, part of the Rotary Club of Des Moines experience. And whether you're live here with us or viewing on stream now or later on YouTube, we appreciate your support and involvement with your Rotary Club. We are adjourned.